Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, goats, cows, chickens, and geese. This isn't your typical farm. In fact, this is a sanctuary, a safe place for all animals to live. At Florida Rescue Farm, it's all about cohabitation. It's believed they may have been the first domesticated animals. So does that mean goats make great pets? Our Inspector Planet is finding out if having a goat in the family is not so bad. And what can you find in your backyard? We're hopping on board with the Sarasota Bay Explorers to discover some of the creatures that live underwater. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. There are many animal rescue organizations out there doing wonderful work, helping give a safe place to animals in need. But Florida Rescue Farm is a little different. Yes, they're helping sometimes neglected or abused animals, but they're also giving these animals space of their own, a place for all to cohabitate. And that's what Florida Rescue Farm is all about.
She is one of the sweetest goats you'll ever meet. And she came to us, she was our first goat that came here after we became an official 501c3. Hello, guys.
She's a sweet, sweet cow.
What is that? What are you?
What do you got? Is that edible?
Kelly, we're here in DeWitt, Florida. Old McCormicks Farm. That's all I can see all around me. Chickens and roosters and ducks and geese and pigs. How did you come up with this concept?
We came out here with full intentions of raising our own food, raising our own animals, and doing a traditional homestead. However, as we acquired animals, we realized how sentient they were. And we realized that if we were going to homestead, a part of it was not going to be killing animals. And the more we were around them, we realized we had to do more than that. We needed to provide a safe place for these animals where they could live their lives out, where they did not have to be in danger from anyone or anything. And that evolved to us becoming a nonprofit. And once we became a nonprofit, we realized how many people needed help with their farm animals. There are wonderful people out there. They just become old or something happens in their life and they can't keep their ducks or they can't keep their geese or their goats. And there's nowhere for them to go.
What we do is we just try to provide a natural habitat
For
that's
everybody.
attractive to animals.
Well, and that's also why everything gets to cohabitate in free range during the day. Because it works like nature. It's a symbiotic relationship. The ducks will go in the pond, they eat all of the mosquito larvae, all of the algae, all of that stuff. The chickens go throughout the pens and they'll eat any of the bugs or the leftover grain. Yeah, the goats go out and they'll eat the undergrowth and the stuff the cows don't eat. Like everybody has a job and everybody works together.
You've talked to us about a section of the farm that you call non-human.
Yes.
Why?
We think it is vitally important to have a non-human zone. Right now, wildlife is disappearing at an amazing rate. And I'm not just talking about animals becoming extinct. I'm talking about your local birds. I'm talking about gopher tortoises. I'm talking about raccoons and possums and all the things that used to have a space. But as we build up our society, they don't have a space anymore. And so we took half of our property and made a non-human zone. We do not go in there unless, if something was missing or there was a crisis, we'd go in there. But we don't go in there. We let the animals have it. And this gives all of them a space to be.
And they're camera hogs. Are you noticing? They're all around us here.
That's Valerie and Maverick.
Yeah.
Wilbur came to us. He was extremely overweight. He's like 7 years old and he's on a diet, so he's very angry. Now, when he came here, we had him in a pen out back. And he did not like his pen. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is like all the animals at night, they all want to go home. They love their pens, and that means they're happy with how they're living. Wilbur did not want to go home. He would complain and grunt. And one day he took his blankets and his pillow, and he had like this little stuffed mouse. And he dragged them all across the yard and put them under here. Fine.
As we were driving out here to DeWitt, the thought came across my mind. We, of course, all came from the Sarasota, Manatee County area. So there's palm trees, and there's water, and there's lush green. But now we came out east, and we really came into farmland, a lot more than I think all of us really thought. And yet, urban development is coming out your way. We couldn't help but notice it. So as it comes out to you, what does this do to your farm?
The biggest thing we notice is an increase of predatory and wild animals, and that's the sad part. You'll see when they put in a landfill years ago, and during that time we had dozens of raccoons, tons of possums, lots of snakes, because everything has to flee that area. And because we leave so much natural, a lot of it flees here. A lot of the ducks that we get, they would not be here normally, but they're here because their native habitat has been destroyed. In fact, last year we had a flock of white pelicans that would land in the pond every day and fish because of the red tide. They couldn't get fish in the ocean where they should be, and so they would come to this little pond to fish. And we thought, I mean, of course, it's beautiful. We were so happy to see them, but at the same time, it's tragic because their environment's being destroyed and they're forced in these small environments where they can find some kind of sustenance. And with the rise of backyard chickens, we've gotten a huge influx of chickens because people get chickens for eggs. At 2 years old, they slow down. They don't lay as many eggs. They don't want to keep the chickens. They don't know what to do, and so they end up here. Every week we get calls about roosters and pigs because everyone buys the little chickens or everyone buys the little pig, and then, you know, a year later, they can't care for that animal. When an animal, a goat, a pig, anything as a baby is adorable. As they get larger though, they have different needs and they have a different lifestyle. And so you need to know the care that's going to be involved with that animal in your life. And please don't get a baby pig, because we get calls every week from people. They got the baby pig and now it's 4 years old. And pigs, although they can make a wonderful house pet, they want to be outside.
Of course
they want to be rooting around in the dirt. And that's not really something that's going to work for somebody in a neighborhood or in an apartment.
Condominium.
Exactly.
And we all heard about those.
We have an adorable pair of silkies that were raised in a condo in Jacksonville. You know, and we get animals all the time. That we have a sheep that was raised on a lanai. We get animals all the time that have been raised in that environment, and it doesn't work for them. But the people don't know. They have a good heart. They want to help the animals, but they need to get out and get experience with the animal first before they make that commitment.
As a human being, I've learned spiritually, physically, my whole life has changed. It's brought me back to a reality that I didn't even think existed anymore. I was so far removed from what life is about, and now it's important for me for people to understand that we are a part of nature, as nature is a part of us, and that it is an integral part of our survival in the future.
Do you think as they're swimming in the pond and they're walking around, and you think they're talking to each other and saying,
Definitely.
I think we found it, we made it big?
They not only that, you can tell they have a sense of comfort. You know, you can tell they don't feel threatened and they're not afraid, and that's very important to us. Even as I was saying earlier, when we build our pens, at night, everyone goes home on their own because they like their enclosure, they like their pen, and that's super important to us. We want them to be happy here, and we want them all to cohabitate because that's the way nature intended it. You know, nature intends for these animals to work together in a symbiotic relationship.
And so if not for you, they would not have a great life.
I would hope they'd have a great life, but I'm going to give them the best life I can ever give them.
Coming up next on Animal Outtakes,
Kid questions!
You have animal questions? Dr. Tracy has the answers. And how bad can owning a goat be? Can they really make good pets? Our Inspector Planet will find out. That's next.
Every dog deserves a lifelong loving home. Dantes Den provides a pristine, comfortable haven for dogs that have been abandoned or surrendered by their owners. We ensure that every pup in our Joyful Dogs adoption program receives lots of love and attention, is properly immunized, spayed or neutered, and is in good health. Prospective pet parents undergo a thorough adoption review to ensure a lifetime of love and care. Find your new furry best friend at Dantes Den. For more information, go to dantesden.org. Dantes Den, continuing the love.
Science is everywhere and it's all around us. It's observing the world, forming questions, and the willingness to find the answers. It's something our Inspector Planet does every day, and you can too.
My name is Dr. Tracy Fanara, research scientist and environmental engineer. At Moat Marine Laboratory, I use investigation and experimentation to answer questions. So my sister thinks it's a good idea to have one of these guys, a goat, as a pet in her house. Today we're gonna go over all the reasons why she makes bad decisions. So this is a billy goat on a leash, just like a dog. His name's Billy, which is clever. Now I've heard that they can eat all kinds of things, like tin cans and metal and bikes and whatever else. Is that true? Is there any truth to that?
No, that's totally not good for them. They might nibble on foreign objects, but that is not true. They can't eat those things. Also though, besides grass, they love underbrush. They love foraging. They love eating tree limbs and tree bark and palmettos and all sorts. What's fascinating about goats, they will eat all the things the cows don't eat. So the cows will trim all your grass down, but then the goats will follow up behind them and take care of all the underbrush. They love roughage.
Oh,
yes.
That's wonderful. Preventing from forest fires and keeping things clean.
Yes.
All right, so can we take a look at Billy's teeth to see what kind of tools he's playing with?
Check him out. He's like, no, you cannot see my teeth. I have crazy teeth.
So the one thing that I noticed is that they only have teeth on their bottom. So where did these rumors of tin cans go? That would be really tough to get through a tin can.
Exactly.
With only one set of teeth.
Exactly. And this is also why they're fantastic to have in a farm environment, because they're not as destructive to your grass or to anything because of the lack of those upper teeth. They're not ripping the grass up by the roots.
Now I've seen goats do some amazing things on mountains, and I'm looking at his pupils and they are horizontal. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What do they use that for?
What's really cool about that, and also about a lot of prey animals, is that they use those eyes so they can see almost entirely behind them. It gives them almost a 360-degree vision all around them so that they can look for predators and such.
Wow, just like a cuttlefish.
Yes.
You got eyes in the back of your head.
Yes, you do, big man.
Okay, one more question. 2 more questions. So we see videos of goats all the time. I mean, they are the most popular thing to look up for their screaming and their fainting.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about why they scream if they actually faint?
There are specific goats that are fainting goats. There's a specific breed. And that actually came about as a herd defense against predators. So if one goes down, the rest can get away. And that's what's fantastic. And even out here, although they are not fainting goats, if they hear something in the bushes, all of the goats will form up into like a triangle to defend. And the weaker members of the herd are in the center, and the stronger herds are on the outside.
That's incredible. So they're total team players.
Yes, they are.
They're family oriented.
Yes, very much so.
That is incredible. I had no clue that these animals were like that.
Yeah, they're very family oriented, and they always protect each other. It's amazing.
That is amazing. Man, I want to be a goat. You get to be part of the popular group.
Yes.
Get to see it all the way around you. You have some horns just in case you need to headbutt something. And all you need to eat is grass.
Yes.
Couldn't be more economical
Exactly.
or environmentally friendly. Go goats. Now, what kind of catastrophe do you think that Billy could cause in a house?
Well, goats aren't really made for houses. That's the thing. They are wonderful animals. They are super intelligent. But just like any wild animal, they need to be outside and eating grass and partaking in nature. And you'll notice Billy's horns are filed. He came from some very lovely people who actually did raise him in a house. And as he got older, he became a little more destructive. There was a lot more headbutting, hence the filed horns. And so, as with any farm animal, it's better to have them in an environment that they belong to and that they enjoy.
That makes a lot of sense. I will be sure to show this to my sister. Okay, so now we see that goats may not make the best indoor pets. However, as far as animals go, they are pretty incredible, and I would love to be part of their crew. Remember guys, anyone could be a scientist or an engineer with some passion, hard work, and an innate curiosity of how the world works. Goats are awesome!
Dr. Tracy comes up with some very interesting topics, and we know that there are some budding scientists out there watching us right now. So we thought we'd answer some of your questions.
Hi, Dr. Tracy. What is the biggest land animal?
Well, Matthew, I know it's not polite to talk about someone's weight, but you did ask the question. This animal can weigh over a ton. In fact, it can weigh up to 7 tons. I'm talking about the African elephant, the largest land animal. You might be wondering how much a ton is. Well, a small car weighs about 2,000 pounds, which is a ton. So you would need 7 of those to equal the weight of an African elephant. I don't feel too guilty now for having that cookie at lunch. What else you got?
Hi, Dr. Tracy. How long is a penguin's tongue?
That is a great question, Cole. Our tongues are organs with important functions. They help us swallow, talk, chew. They even help us taste our food. When it comes to penguins, their tongues are much different than ours. These flightless birds actually don't have taste buds. Instead, they have large, spiny-like barbs that are slanted backwards. These barbs are positioned on the roof of their mouth and the top of their tongue. It helps them trap food. So while the size of a penguin's tongue isn't that unique, the function of a penguin's tongue is what really stands out.
Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, hop on board as we're exploring an extremely unique ecosystem and discovering the animals that live there.
Like seahorses, pipefish are indicator species, meaning that when they are present, it indicates to us that the health of the water is good.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dantes Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dantes Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. Estuaries play an important role in the health of our environment overall. And there are a lot of animals that are essential to the well-being of this unique and often overlooked ecosystem.
As a biologist for Sarasota Bay Explorers, our job is to narrate the experience and make it fun for people so that they can learn and they're interested in learning the health of the bay and the animals in it. And the goal for us is to make it meaningful enough to them to where they're inspired to take more action in helping their environment, helping our environment. We really try to bring people to a different level of consciousness so that we're making a difference in the world. 1, 2, 3. We actually threw a trawl net out into the water and we caught some animals. We are permitted to do this, so we have permission to use this type of net and to collect these animals. I see some fish. We do release them at the end of the day. So no grouper sandwiches, no crab cakes for anybody. So we went out today on a trip and we got to catch a lot of cool animals that live in our estuary in Sarasota Bay. We are permitted to catch these animals, and one of the coolest ones that we caught is this pipefish. Pipefish are named that because of the shape of their body, and pipefish are very closely related to seahorses. You could say that they're the seahorse's cousins. So like seahorses, pipefish are indicator species, meaning that when they are present, it indicates to us that the health of the water is good, because these animals are very sensitive to water quality. So if we're finding them, awesome. If not, it's a sign that maybe our water quality isn't as good as we think it is. So it's really special that we've caught this one, and even more special is the color on it. Usually we catch the pipefish and they're a darker color, maybe they even have bright blue spots or stripes on them, but I have not seen an orange one before, so this is really special. Another fun fact about pipefish is that, similar to the seahorse, the males give birth, which ladies love. The pipefish will dance and the seahorse will dance with its mate. They will court each other for up to 12 hours, and then the female will pass the eggs, which are already developed. She'll pass them over to the male into his pouch, where they become incubated and fertilized internally. He holds that pouch of those eggs for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, before they're fully developed enough to hatch out of his body. And there are hundreds of them at a time. Really, really little. So this is the pipefish.
Stay with us. There's more Animal Outtakes coming up next.
People have asked me what it'll cost to restore all the corals back the way they remember. But I have to ask them, what will it cost if we don't do anything?
This show is produced by Dantes Den Foundation, a lifetime care facility for our four-legged friends. Hundreds of Dantes dogs have been adopted, but there are some who need constant care and will stay here at our sanctuary forever, like Newman. This handsome hound was found running wild. No one claimed him, which meant he was on death row. Dantes Den took him in, and we originally thought we could easily find him a new and loving home. But after one of our extensive medical checks with our vet, it was discovered Newman had a heart murmur. A dog with a heart condition made his chances of adoption diminish. It's expensive to treat, and that's what usually deters a new adoptive parent. So now, Newman is getting all the medical care he needs here at Dantes Den. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. Zeus and I will be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching. It's expensive to treat, and that's what usually deters. And I've been pronouncing it wrong all my life.
Animals. What a hand.
Very interesting as we drove.
I'm sorry, I was trying.
The whole train coming through.
I was really trying to maintain, and you were doing great with the wings, just saying.
They may have been the first domesticated animals. So does this mean